Hi, I'm Chris Wardlaw for Auto by Tel, and today we're reviewing the 2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now, Jeep builds a Grand Cherokee for just about any price point or purpose. You can get one for right around 30 grand. That's the Laredo with two-wheel drive. Frankly, it kind of defeats the point of a Grand Cherokee in the first place. Or you can spend upwards of $50,000 or even $60,000 by choosing the top-of-the-line Summit or the track-ready SRT model. That's right, there is a version of this SUV that can romp around a race course with the best of them. Now, the one that I'm driving is the Grand Cherokee Limited. This is the mainstream model. It's got optional four-wheel drive. It's got the optional EcoDiesel turbo diesel six-cylinder engine. Now, when you load it up with those features and a few other items of equipment, the price easily eclipses $50,000. Is it worth it? That's what we're here to find out. Now, in my opinion, the Grand Cherokee is a really good-looking, well-balanced SUV. I feel like the Limited model's got a little too much shiny bling on it, and I feel like these wheels are almost dainty in appearance. They're 18 inches, and they've got this thin spoke design. Some of the other models have bigger, more robust wheel designs that really lend the Jeep a little bit of extra muscle and character. That aside, my test vehicle has got the optional Quadralift air suspension on it. There's 4 different settings. So normal mode, you're just driving around town at regular speeds. Aero mode engages when the Jeep goes over 55 miles an hour, lowers it an inch for greater aerodynamics to help improve fuel economy. Now, if you're going off-road, there are 2 off-road settings for the suspension, and they raise it a maximum of 2.1 additional inches. At the top level, which is the off-road 2 setting, you can get 10.8 inches of ground clearance, and you've got improved approach, breakover, and departure angles. So what that basically means is if you're really going on a tough trail, that's the setting you want to use. It's available only at low speeds. Or if you're driving home in a massive blizzard, you might want to use that setting too. Either way, chances are really good that this trail-rated Jeep's going to get you home. Now, my test vehicle has got the optional 3-liter EcoDiesel 6-cylinder engine. It's a $4,500 option. It gives you 240 horsepower at 3,600 RPM. But more importantly, it develops 420 pound-feet of torque at just 2,000 RPM. So this engine feels very energetic when you're driving it. And it occasionally buzzes like that. I really don't know what that is, but you know, whatever. Now, the maximum towing rating with this is 7,400 pounds. It matches the Grand Cherokee's optional 5.7 liter Hemi V8 in that regard, but it gets a lot better gas mileage than the V8, and it's only $1,300 more than the V8 option. So that means that if you are upgrading from the Grand Cherokee standard V6 engine to either the EcoDiesel or the Hemi, choosing the more expensive EcoDiesel, actually you can pay for that extra expense in a fairly short amount of time. Now, in combined driving, my test vehicle was supposed to get 24 miles per gallon. I actually averaged 22.9 miles per gallon. And frankly, I spent a lot more time driving around in the city and suburbs than I did on the highway. So that's a fairly good result. The default powertrain mode is an eco mode. So when you get in and you start it up, it's automatically in eco mode. You can take it out of eco mode if you want. You can shift the transmission from its regular drive mode to a sport mode. But honestly, I didn't really feel a big difference in terms of the power delivery when I was making those adjustments. So most of the time I just left it right in eco mode in regular drive mode. In short, I think that the EcoDiesel is definitely a worthwhile upgrade from the Hemi V8. Now, when you buy the Grand Cherokee Limited, you get a standard power tailgate. And to open it, you press twice on the key fob right here, or you use this touchpad right under there. Like most power tailgates, it takes a while to open, but this one does seem faster than a lot of competing models. Once it's open, it reveals 36.3 cubic feet of cargo space. As you can see, that's enough room to put 2 full-size suitcases side by side, get rid of the cargo cover, and you can flip them up on their side like that and fit more luggage. Compact folding strollers fit lengthwise, but they do not go in wheels first. Now I'm going to take this out because there are a couple of things I want to show you. Under this panel here, there's a full-size spare and some storage areas. That's important because if you get a flat tire and you're out in the middle of nowhere, you need a full-size spare to get back to civilization. And if that flat happens in the middle of the night, although I don't know why it would, but just in case, there is this handy flashlight located right in this panel right here. It charges when it's stored so that it's ready to rock when you have to change that flat tire after dark. And I can't seem to... Okay, it's back now. A couple of other features of the cargo area. You got a 12-volt outlet here. You've got two of these little hooks on either side. Those are good for hanging plastic grocery bags. And you've got the power tailgate closer button here, which is handy because after you're done loading, you're probably heading back to the driver's seat anyway. So it's easy to reach and it's very conveniently located. Let's check out maximum cargo space. Now, if you need to maximize cargo capacity, it's super easy. There's a lever on each side of the 60/40 split folding seat. All you do is push it and down the seat goes. The headrest even folds automatically. Super easy, you can basically do it with one hand. Once both seats are folded down, you've got 68.3 cubic feet of cargo room. That's not a lot for what's a mid-size SUV. Most compact crossovers have that amount of space, but you've got to remember that part of the compromise is due to all the rugged underpinnings on this vehicle. That kind of chews into some interior space, and I think that if you're buying a Grand Cherokee for what it's designed for, it's a worthy compromise. Now, the fact that the rear seats fold as close to flat as possible is great, but what that means is that this bottom cushion sits kind of low in the vehicle. Now, the good thing is there's plenty of thigh support and legroom is decent, although this is all hard plastic here and my shins easily come into contact here at the bottom. It's very uncomfortable. Now, what Jeep has done is they've molded in a couple of hooks on either side. Again, good for plastic grocery bags. You've got this nice optional panoramic sunroof in this vehicle so that rear seat riders can enjoy the view. Maybe on a crystal clear blue sky day, that's no big deal, but my kids really enjoyed watching some rain clouds the other day. Also, my particular test vehicle has got a 3-prong 115-volt power outlet, dual USB charge-only ports. I've got heated rear seats here and heat and air conditioning vents. So while I think that leg space could be improved somewhat, otherwise there's really nobody to complain about rear seat comfort. Now, if you're a full-size adult like me, you're going to be more comfortable in the Jeep Grand Cherokee's front seats. My test vehicle has these Napa leather wrapped 8-way power adjustable front seats. Both front seats have 4-way power adjustable lumbar support, and I'm facing this really terrific smooth leather wrapped thick rimmed steering wheel. Now, in general, the quality of the material's a little bit iffy. It looks nice in here, if kind of monochrome with all of this black. I think I would probably get the tan colored interior. But the issue that I have is that basically everything from this point down is hard plastic. Now, on the one hand, it would be nice if the materials seemed of higher quality, but on the other hand, this is a vehicle that at the end of the day is designed to get dirty, and it's really easy to clean up this interior. Now, as far as the Jeep Grand Cherokee's control layout is concerned, it's really easy to understand. Jeep uses a lot of large, well-marked buttons and knobs. The knobs have nice rubber grips on them that makes them easy to turn, and everything is located pretty much exactly where you expect to find it. The one thing that bothers me a little bit is that the wiper stalk and the turn signal stalk share responsibilities. I'm used to having turn signals over here and wipers over here, but Jeep puts it all on one stalk. You can get used to it, it's just not my preference. Now, my vehicle's got the optional 8.4-inch Uconnect infotainment system. One of my favorites in the industry. It is resistant of fingerprints. It's got really simple controls. Basically, your main menu's here. Screen is really responsive to touch. It's easy to sort through the different screens and menus. The navigation map, plus, minus, to zoom in, zoom out. There's no menus you've got to sort through. It's even got a little speed limit display for whatever road you're on. Select terrain controls are here on the center console. This is where you can engage four-wheel drive low. You can spin it to the different settings that are available. and the height adjustable suspension controls are right here. Now the one thing that I never really got used to, even though I put hundreds of miles on this Jeep, is this T-handle electronic shifter. Basically what this thing does is it returns to center every time you choose a gear. So there's reverse, there's neutral, there's drive. Push it all the way forward for park, but if you're in drive and you want to go to reverse, you have to be very precise with this thing, and I never quite got used to how it works. Honestly, I would prefer the rotary system that's in the new Chrysler 300 or just a conventional gated shifter. This, I know they use it in the Dodge Charger and some other models, but this really needs to go. It is counterintuitive, and I always have to double check to make sure I know what gear I'm in. Now my Grand Cherokee test vehicle has got the optional Off-Road Adventure Group 2, which means it's got the quadra-drive four-wheel drive system and all kinds of skid plates running underneath the vehicle. Now the great thing about quadra-drive is that it will put up to 100% of all of the engine's power to just one wheel, and that means you can get yourself out of just about any situation. It also includes Select Terrain, which is a controller here in the center console that adjusts drivetrain characteristics for snow, sand, mud, rocks, you name it. You can get out of just about anything in this Grand Cherokee. So the thing about a Jeep Grand Cherokee with four-wheel drive, see, I just shifted into neutral instead of reverse. Remember what I was telling you about this T-handled shifter? So the thing about a Grand Cherokee with four-wheel drive and the off-road adventure group and all the four-wheel driving bells and whistles is that it is a far more talented off-roader than I am. In fact, driving off-road to me sometimes is a lot more scary than driving very fast on a racetrack. So what we're going to do is we're going to drive this the way that most people who own Grand Cherokees drive them, which is in the suburbs. Now to get to the suburbs, I'm going to have to go down this twisty road. And I'm going to be honest with you, the Grand Cherokee in this configuration, I'm not speaking about the SRT model, the Performance Tune model, but in this configuration, the Grand Cherokee is not a twisty road star. It has kind of a wallowy suspension. There's some body roll associated with this vehicle. It just really doesn't give me a lot of confidence. Plus, the steering is really slow, so it doesn't go around corners the way that you might like it to. It requires a lot more input in terms of that. Plus, the heavy-duty brakes that come with the EcoDiesel engine and the pedal application is not as immediate and responsive as you might like for this type of driving. So if you're going to spend a lot of time on twisty roads, my recommendation is choose the Grand Cherokee SRT. If you're not going to be doing that, by all means, pick up one of these EcoDiesels, and I think you'll be quite happy with the way that it drives the majority of the time. Now, the 2015 Jeep Grand Cherokee is a terrifically talented, true SUV that can tackle just about anything Mother Nature throws in its path. The problem is most people don't need that. So when they're paying for a Grand Cherokee, they're paying for a lot of capability that they're never going to use. I mean, why else would Jeep even build a two-wheel drive Grand Cherokee in the first place? Frankly, in my opinion, I think most of those buyers would be better served by getting a crossover SUV. But if you're seriously intending to go far off the beaten path, or you really need to tow up to 7,400 pounds, this Grand Cherokee gets the job done, and it makes all the sense in the world. Well, maybe not the SRT version, but that is a review for another day. For Auto by Tel, I'm Chris Wardlaw. I'll see you right back here next time.